Well, morning, boys and girls. It's July. It's July 1st. And it's Wednesday, 2020. A little after 6 in the morning. That's really Weaver Johnson. How you doing? You know, when I run into posts online on various subjects, it tickles me to no end that no one has studied or remembered anything these days. Kind of freaks me out a little bit, because it seems like people have forgotten what history was supposed to be. Or else they've studied a different form of history out of different books I never studied. Or they never went to school in the first place. Kind of hard to imagine that nobody can go to school as an adult. Then again, I've taken things for granted when I was growing up as a kid. And just seeing how things are going right now, we're dealing with history. Even if we hate history as it is, we got history happening regardless of what's going on. We have the COVID-19 happening. We've got politics happening at this point over here. Misconceptions going on left and right. Country is having issues regarding the bugs and regarding our own industries. Our own industries that kept us alive is sinking fast. And people just hadn't seen it yet. That's the scariest damn thing. I was tickled pink when somebody asked me a question concerning about what's communism. If he's socially hooked in with the internet, if he's understanding how to use the internet, if he knows how to use Google, he could have researched the damn terminology in the first place. But I love it when they start testing the posters out. I love it when a few people test out the posters. Nobody wants to answer the damn questions except I've got to be the nerd. I've got to be the poor schmuck that raises his freaking hand in class and gives a dissertation in front of the teacher because he wants to make the teacher look good, and therefore making the students look like idiots, only because the students are idiots. That's why the nerds gets picked on all the damn time. When I was growing up, show off that intelligence meant you were paying attention to something, and the cool kids weren't paying attention to anything. That's why they picked on the nerds all the time. They wanted the nerds to get them through school and get them through life, and you know what? It's not happening that way, because the nerds have a way of biting back the cool kids. The ones who are gun-happy, pro-whatever they are, they're pro-God, pro-life, but pro-guns, and I'm thinking, wait a second. Don't throw your damn religion in the situation over here, and guns in the same damn question, in the same situation, because if you're a man of God, then you understand something about the Bible, and Christ had an aversion against swords, especially when one of his own was trying to protect him in the Garden of Gethsemane. Gethsemane. Christ was trying to tell one of his followers, don't use the sword because the sword's going to be used on you. Now, those who live by the sword are going to be dead by the sword, and they're not kidding. You live by a gun, you're going to be dying by a gun, or by the concept of the gun, or of a weapon during that time. God wanted sheep, but he also wanted intelligent sheep too. But he also wanted to make sure that he was the shepherd and nobody else. He wanted to make sure that his son was the shepherd, taking care of the flock. Some people kind of look at it saying, we can't deal with that because we're independent. We're the schmucks that have to go out there and in the real world or in another world and make our own living. There are moral stories in the Bible, one of which is called the prodigal son, and it's been handed down from generation to generation. Parent is pleased when the kid comes back into the fold to show that he loves the son not much. Son's coming back with nothing, absolutely nothing, and feels like he should be treated as nothing because what he did to his pop or did to his parent. I had to keep thinking about that one from time to time. I didn't leave Mom. I still didn't want to leave Mom. Either in spirit or in physical. It's the hardest damn thing for me to let her go. But in essence, I never let her go. It's not really anyway. What drives me crazy is when people bring up a topic and they don't know the entire answers to it. They have access to the internet to get the answer, but they're still waiting for that nerd to raise up a hand and tell them the answers. So they can make fun of the nerd, probably. That's been happened. It's happened to me many times. I get burned too many times. I say fake news. Worse than that. You're a libtard. You're a libtard. No, I'm what they call a college boy a long time ago. Somewhere back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. Maybe in the 40s. So if you happen to go to college, there was either an endearing term or an assaulting term of being called a college boy. Are you a college boy? Yeah. A 54-year-old Ford going back to college. You got an issue with that? Long hair, freaky dicky hippie. At least I'm not into peace, love, and free love. Sorry, I'm into rock and roll. Too damn old for sex. Recovering alcoholics, so don't tell me about the damn drugs. The rock and roll still stays with me. But what doesn't stay with me is dealing with people and their claims of things that they think they know better, that they know of. So if I can find news articles that actually back me up in other areas that can back me up, it usually shuts them down a little bit, and they're usually chewing on their lips. And I have to keep questioning my own motives at this point over here, see whether or not if I'm doing this for the right reasons or not. Am I doing this for the ego, or am I doing this for education of people at this point over here? Because there's no way in hell I've got a doctorate in education at this point. I mean, if I had one right now, I wouldn't be in the situation that I am in right now. I mean, shit, if I had a doctorate a long time ago, if I actually worked towards a doctorate in something and tried to educate people and stuff, I would have been considered a teacher. I would have considered a teaching career. But the thing is, I didn't like teachers and I didn't want to be a teacher. And what do I end up being right now? A teacher. I'm trying to teach these people how to fucking research. Pardon my language, but I'm trying to teach these people how to research. They don't want to research. They want to do with their own. They think everything else is fake news. My coffee, tea, and there's something in the morning to keep me going. Well, I can remember world history as best as I can and post that on Facebook. If I can do that and tell these people what's going on, I shake my head in disgust, not in triumph, because I'm amazed and appalled. And no one even bothers to go back to college or pick up a damn history book. I've been constantly taking history classes and political science classes because I wanted to understand the system better, where the hell we came from, and if there was any holes in it. And one history professor told me that history always changes. Our interpretation of the past changes when something new is added to the equation. Something we didn't know. Something was an unknown. And that tickles and thrills the researchers, because if that wasn't verified, and now it's verified that this thing happened or that thing happened, it adds to everything that we learn. And history still becomes alive. I didn't realize until the past month or two that Spanish flu was called Spanish flu because only one country bothered to keep its people in line with a damn pandemic of flu going on that was hitting people across the world during World War I era. And the countries kept it quiet because they didn't want mass public rioting and panic. They made their individual choices to keep information locked up. So now it makes you wonder about the conspiracy theories, if they're all true or not. Are there any more secrets our government's still hiding from us that we don't know of? Anything that's going to be breaking history into pieces again? Maybe shattering our own illusions at this point over here that we're given? Because no wonder people are having problems with the terminology of fake news. How about new discoveries, if you want to look at it that way? Not the negative connotation, but a different connotation. But I guess nobody thinks of it. Nobody wants to think of it. Because they're scared of letting daylights out of them. They don't want to be scared. They want to be nice and safe in their little cubby holes. They want to be nice little hobbits in their little hobbiton. I hate to tell these little dwarfs, these little children, but unfortunately the real world of sorrow, actually I should say Sauron and Saruman, are coming over and waking you guys up and putting you guys in your place. Burn down your town. Burn your way of life. You're going to serve a Dark Lord Master. And they already have. Ignorance, indifference, arrogance, ego. Yeah, the almighty E word, ego, finally shows its damn head. Ah, but which one? We all got our own. We all have our own egos, including me. Sorry, my eyes are reverted to the television at this point over here, trying to keep track of what's going on in the news these days, because things are happening still, even right now. California tax going on regarding gas. Amazing. Try this. County of Los Angeles, City of Los Angeles, actually. The Board of Education decided to strip members out of its school police in order to fund some social programs. While some people hail this as a good thing, I'm looking at it as like, oh great, we're in for it now. We had the school police in the schools because of the reasons of nut jobs shooting up the places, and now we're not going to have the protection needed. They're idiots. They are idiots. But they feel that they're going to make a change and a difference in the way things are handled. Within 10 years, we're going to have more issues. We're going to have more issues than we can handle because of our own stupidity and our own decisions at this point over here. Yes, the police probably will need more training, and they're pissed off about it because the public still doesn't trust them. A few bad apples changes the entire department left and right. Put a few bad apples in a barrel of fresh apples, And they're afraid of the contamination and the bacteria affecting the entire apples. You have to get rid of the whole damn thing. That's the logic. Instead of doing a surgical strike of getting all the apples, but it's kind of hard to find out which ones are contaminated, which ones aren't, unless they're showing the rot. And they're all having issues regarding that. They're all having issues regarding this. A few bad apples spoil the bunch. And you can't do a surgical precision at this point over here unless you look at every apple and make sure that there's no rot on it. So hopefully they won't be contaminating the other apples. And if you can find those apples and get rid of them, and there's no more rot, then you've got no problems. But the problem is the rot is so deep inside the apple. And I'm talking about the individual apple. I'm talking about in the collective. The rot is so in there that it's kind of hard to get rid of it. So the logic is get rid of the whole damn thing. Restart from scratch. Kind of hard to do when you have to go through millions and millions of dollars of retraining of your officers. And there goes dinner. Education, retraining, getting a better or maybe lesser equipment. North Hollywood shootout in the 90s scared the living crap out of people because we had armed thugs coming over to a bank in North Hollywood. Kevlar armed. They figured the cops didn't have the heavier artillery, and they were right. Only the special weapons attack teams that they had in the Los Angeles Police Department would be able to deal with these guys, but the cops weren't there. Only the regular blue suits were there, and they're getting cut down. They had to raid a gun store to get the armament necessary and the ammunition before they actually took the chance to take the streets back. And they did. But it cost them lives. Even one blue suit is tragedy enough. More than that, there was a lot of injuries. Bad guys, however, got their shot in the neck. The only weak spot in their own chink in their armor. Everything else was Kevlar head to toe, except around the neck area where they needed to move their helmets and show their necks. And that was the area to aim at. All the school police and public places we've had problems with. Why the heavy-duty artillery? Why the non-lethal weapons? Because every time there's been a civil unrest, every time there's been a problem somewhere, the cops had to adapt with the equipment that they had to get, beg, borrow, or steal from. Beg and borrow from Peter in order to get Paul equipped. And that had to happen. This makes me scared of what the hell looking like 60, at the age of 60 at this point over here, 65, when all the world's going hell in a handbasket. If it hasn't done so already. But then again, that's my gloom and doom for today. So, let's hope that this season is not going to be gloomy and doomy. Then again, I seriously doubt it.